Welcome back to the channel, guys. Amazon have released the second trailer for The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And I must say this trailer is vastly superior to the first one. They probably should have led with this one at the Super Bowl over that other one, which was pretty mediocre. Whereas this one feels better, has stunning visuals, and is kind of interesting and has exciting scenes, including iconic first stage moments. But of course, the issues are still there, some of the costumes are whack, and the characters and the plot have me worried. But of course, like I say, we don't know until we've actually seen the episodes. But yes, let's get to the trailer, let's break it down, but before we start, make sure you subscribe for more videos for The Lord of the Rings and so much more. So the first scene is a glimpse of Númenor, the greatest civilization of men. And if you think about it, Númenor has mostly remained hidden. But now we've had the first look reveal and Númenor is one of the main focuses of this trailer. But guys, I wasn't kidding when I mentioned there were first age moments concerning Galadriel, who is reminiscent of the years of the trees on Valinor. And there they are, the gold tree, Laurelin, and the silver tree, Telperion, and they look incredible. And of course these images are familiar. If you remember, this was the first ever promo shot. This is the city of Tirion, and those are the two trees. And we believe the figure is Galadriel's brother, Finrod, who at the time of the Second Age is long dead. He perished long before the events of the Rings of Power. He died in the First Age, but his legacy is important. It's a huge factor to why Galadriel is trying to rid the world of evil, and her ultimate goal is Sauron. And if you know your Tolkien history, Finrod's death was caused by Sauron. So in a way, Galadriel is seeking revenge for her brother. But yes, moving on, in typical Middle-earth fashion, we have wide landscape shots. And let's just take a moment to gaze at the beauty of New Zealand. But of course, Season 2 is moving away from New Zealand and coming over here to the UK. I'm sure it's going to work out, but it is a major loss. New Zealand is such a beautiful country, and it gave us so many iconic scenes from the Peter Jackson movies. It is Middle-earth. Not really sure who the first group are, but the second group seemed to be Galadriel's party in the Northern Waste, who are hunting Sauron. And we have more location shots. I'm assuming this is Lindon, the land of the High King Gil-galad. We can see Khazad-dûm in its prime. During this age, Moria is not an abandoned mine that the Fellowship passed through. It is the greatest dwarven kingdom in the world. And I believe these are simple men of Middle-earth, living off the land, not mighty Númenorians. Then we have the Harfoots, stalking those beings that had the antlers on their backs. And this is where some of the controversy comes in, because Harfoots, or ancestors to Hobbits, or whatever Amazon are calling them, they are the least interesting aspect to me. I just don't care. I wouldn't mind a throwaway episode or two, and then they disappear for a bit, but I'm concerned we'll be spending a lot of time with the Harfoots. And of course their encounter with Meteor Man has left us with many questions, but really just don't care about them as much as all the legendary figures of the Second Age, the Rings of Power and the flashbacks to the First Age. So Harfoots kind of feel misplaced, but I accept it, we'll see how it goes. Obviously Meteor Man and Nori are constant. That was the thumbnail for the first teaser, and the Harfoots are the first people to encounter Meteor Man. They are safe, they have each other, they have their way of life, but Meteor Man is about to ruin that. But let's go back to Galadriel and another unnamed elf from her party on top of the snowy mountains of the Northern Waste. This must be after the troll fight where most of them are dead. I imagine they'll kill the snow troll, but they've lost so many from their party, and there's still no sign of Sauron. And that could be because they're looking in the wrong place. Sauron could possibly be hiding in plain sight. Galadriel shares dialogue with Elrond, and I quite like how Elrond pronounces his words. Supposedly Robert Ironmarrow is a huge Tolkien geek, and I kind of buy that because of how he speaks, but I'm not really sure on this conversation with Galadriel. Elrond is basically telling Galadriel to abandon her expeditions to rid the world of evil, of Sauron. Seems like Elrond doubts that Sauron will ever return, but Galadriel is convinced. But I just don't like how he speaks to her. Elrond is far younger than Galadriel, and at this point he is either her son-in-law or he soon will be. He needs to learn some respect. Like Elrond mentions that he has seen his share, but Galadriel has seen worse. And Season 1 will have a huge focus on her, from her backstory of the First Age to where she is now, on her quest to rid the world of evil. Obviously because she's a good character, But like I said, she also has personal reasons, as her brother Finrod died in the dungeons of Sauron in the First Age. I just hope they don't use the trope that Galadriel is the only one that believes Sauron is a threat, and everyone else brushes her off. Remember, Gil-galad also did not trust Annatar, and this trailer kind of makes me feel confident because it seems like he shares Galadriel's fears that evil is coming again. But unlike Galadriel, Gil-galad is not out there trying to get himself killed, whereas Gil-galad seems to be going about it in another way, through political means, forming alliances. He is worried not only about his own people, the Noldor, but all races of Middle-earth. He accepts that they must come together, and this is obviously going to form the last alliance one day. But yes, Galadriel is right to fear evil. We can see flashbacks to the First Age, the War of Wrath, death and destruction. A war that not only cost many lives, but also caused the imprisonment of Morgoth in the Void, the destruction of a huge part of the land of Middle-earth, and the end of the First Age. And these scenes of Galadriel in the red light seem to be flashbacks to the War of Wrath. Flashbacks to the time that she fought in the war, even though I don't think that is what Tolkien wrote. But of course, Amazon are changing this. They'll probably have Galadriel witness her brothers die, and I imagine she'll be there when Finrod perishes in the dungeons of Sauron. But yeah, speaking of Númenor, here it is in all its glory, basically the Atlantis of Middle-earth. The greatest civilization of men. Remember, even Sauron surrendered to them. He knew that he couldn't beat them in war. But of course, in the end, Sauron used the Númenorians' weaknesses against them, which led to the downfall of Númenor. So next shot we can see Gil-galad, who is sensing that evil is coming. It seems like Elrond doesn't share Galadriel's concerns, but his High King might convince him that she is right. Remember, Elrond is the herald of Gil-galad during the War of the Last Alliance. And before Gil-galad marches off to his death, he entrusts Elrond with the Ring of Air, Vilya. And the Elrond and Gil-galad relationship is an element of this show I am very interested in. So yes, we've got to talk about the orcs, led by Adar. And I think we can all agree the orcs look brilliant. They're practical and they're well done. And like I said, they're led by Adar, played by Joseph Mawle, who is a very mysterious character. Next up, we have Galadriel on the ship to the west, which is complete Amazon. That never happened. But supposedly Gil-galad sends her away, perhaps to find peace. But Galadriel is caught up in a storm and ends up on a raft with a man known as Halbrand. And they end up in Númenor together. And I've just made a video on this recently, it was actually yesterday, explaining why this happens. And you'll probably notice, but a theme of this teaser is individual races coming together to face a common threat. And the Queen Regent, Taramiriel, must convince her people of the upcoming danger. And our main concern should be her cousin and advisor, Pharazôn. Spoilers, he takes her rightful throne and becomes Ar-Pharazôn the Golden and causes the downfall of Númenor, with a little help from Sauron. Speaking of Sauron, is this him? Is Sauron Meteor Man, who falls from the sky in a ball of fire? Whoever Meteor Man is, he can't be mortal. Not a man, not even an elf. He has to be a Maiar. Maybe Gandalf, which I think is complete nonsense, and if that happens, I'm done with the show. Many people speculate a Balrog because of the fire. Really, only time will tell. But I think it's either Sauron, which is obvious, or it's a red herring used to distract us from the real Dark Lord, who could be someone else. Someone hiding in plain sight. Yes, Elrond on a mission to Khazad-dûm, either sent by Gil-galad or Celebrimbor, who supposedly has an ulterior motive. I can imagine Gil-galad sends him to form an alliance, but like I said, Celebrimbor's ulterior motive is interesting. He has relationships with the dwarfs of Moria because he shares a passion for crafting. He is the grandson of probably the greatest craftsman ever, Fëanor, and in his own right, Celebrimbor is a master craftsman who created the Doors of Durin and the Rings of Power. But to me it seems like Celebrimbor is interested in what makes Moria so rich and powerful, Mithril. Celebrimbor wants to live up to the legacy of his grandfather, Fëanor, and a relationship with the dwarfs of Khazad-dûm and the resources of Mithril might be the key. But yes, I'm very impressed with the design of Khazad-dûm. This is the mightiest dwarven kingdom in its prime. It does have similar features to the Peter Jackson movies, but we can see light and vegetation because it's alive and thriving. It's just a shame the dwarfs delve too greedily and too deep. But this is the problem. We have Durin the Third and Durin the Fourth, which makes no sense because Durin is not a name passed from father to son. It's a supposed reincarnation in dwarven religion. No two Durins are there at once. It's the same person reincarnated. but Amazon have compressed their timeline down and they've made Durin III the father of Durin IV. It seems to me that Durin III is more inclined to stay deep in the mines and keep the dwarves to themselves, whereas Durin IV seems to want to open up. Him and Elrond are going to have this big rock smashing competition. This rock smashing is probably a dwarven tradition and a show of strength. Elrond gives it a go, but is beaten by the much stronger and more experienced rock smasher Durin. But Elrond will gain Durin's respect, and this will be the start of the relationship that will lead to the dwarves, led by Durin IV, joining the War of the Last Alliance. Halbrand in Númenor. Halbrand is a brand new character, but there's so many theories about him. From a knockoff Aragorn, the first ancestor of Rohan, and even Sauron himself. But at this point he seems to be in a court of Númenor, and we know he's supposedly running from his past, whatever that means. Next up is the Sylvan Elf of Tirharad, Arondir. Honestly with him I'm not too bothered, but I do like the Ent on his chest. And I am interested if this leads into a relationship between the Sylvan Elves of the East and the Ents. And next up we have Galadriel leading the Númenorians into battle on horseback. It's a Rohirrim charge, or is it something out of Narnia? So yeah, the Númenorian outfits, I'm a bit hit or miss for me. They are very different than what Peter Jackson would do. I am biased about that, but I'm just not feeling them. Some of them look decent, some of them look impractical, and some of them look ridiculous. And then we have the Númenorian ship, and the first look of Isildur, who is very young. And when he cuts the ring from Sauron's hand, he's gonna have to have a beard, or at least a stubble. He just looks so young, but I guess that's the point. And his father is lecturing him on the past. And for me, Elendil is top 3. Top 3 characters I'm most excited for. I would say it's probably Gil-galad, Círdan, and Elendil. And remember, Elendil is the leader of the faithful, and the future king of the Númenorians who settle in Middle-earth, the Dunedain. He is the direct ancestor of Aragorn. And I think this is him warning his son Isildur of Pharazôn and the king's men. And we can see Elendil riding on the beaches with Galadriel. And that is a pretty interesting team up. That is the kind of new storylines I'm okay with. To establish Tolkien characters that probably never met, but they could have. And it could be interesting. But then we have Pharazôn entertaining a crowd who look like they're part of a BBC drama, not the most expensive TV show in the world. Remember guys, at this point, Pharazôn is an advisor to the Queen Regent. He is the cousin of Tarmiriel, but soon he will rally the king's men and take over. And I think Elendil fears this. He knows it's going to happen. The next important shot is Durin IV holding Mithril. This could be the beginning of a new era. And for me, I've always felt Durin III wants to keep Mithril to the dwarfs. It's for no one else, it's ours. Whereas Durin IV, I think he wants to expand. Share Mithril with Celebrimbor, form alliances, gain more wealth, more friends, more power. And now, a legendary moment from the First Age. This has to be the Oath of Fëanor, his sons swearing to hunt the Silmarils at all costs. And the swords they wield seem very similar to the sword that Adar wields, which could further hint that he could be one of the sons of Fëanor, or perhaps someone closely linked to him. Next up, we have Arondir versus a warg, more flippy tricks. This is after the orcs attack, and I imagine Arondir escapes, but I don't think Tirharad makes out of this. Like I said, I think this becomes a land of Mordor. The orcs attack first in the east, far away from the wise in the west, who are concerned with the fallen meteor, which could be a distraction. This is where Sauron strikes first, while everyone else is too busy focusing on the sky. But I think the Meteor Man has to be someone special. He arrives in fire and stone. It's clearly magical. We can see an old, naked, hairy man in the centre of the Eye of Sauron, or something that looks very similar. Or it's just a clear misdirect, trying to distract us. And if it is that, it kind of seems cheap, because it's not really intelligent, it's not clever, this is Sauron, look, all the clues are here. Oh, by the way, that's Sauron, we were lying. It's not really clever, but I think it has to be someone important. I'm 50-50 on whether it's Sauron, but it just seems too obvious. And that is one of the biggest questions. And if that's the answer, we all know it. And it kind of removes a lot of the mystery. And then the trailer ends with 4 hobbits setting off on an adventure. Like we haven't seen that before. But we just have to wait and see how it plays out in the episodes. And I think that has to happen for everything. This trailer is maybe more confident. It's brought that back. It's so much better than the stills and the promo pics they've released. But I also feel Amazon know there is a backlash, and it could all be clever marketing. But only time will tell. But for now guys, make sure you post your thoughts and theories on the trailer. Let me know what you think. And if you have any requests for follow-up videos, just post them below. I will be busy for the next few weeks. We've got Comic-Con, which will feature more Rings of Power news, probably another trailer. So if you want to get that, make sure you subscribe. Yeah guys, I think that'll do for today. It's been a long one, so I'll say thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and like for more videos, and I'll see you soon.